Are we live? Is this real life? I am completely out of it today, guys. Welcome to the live stream. I think this is all working. You're replying to the things that I said, so I guess this is actually happening. I've got a bunch of stuff on my to-do list that have piled up over the past month or two, or even longer, really. And so we might tackle a few of those projects. I've got a bunch of guitar setup things that I've wanted to do all week, and for some reason I've been putting it off until streaming. And then this morning I'm like, no one's going to want to watch this. No, this is going to be really boring. Don't want to do this, but I'm probably just overthinking it. If there's any questions, we will do a question and answer period sometime. Or really, I mean, ask questions anytime you feel like, but I may not get to them immediately. As far as news, there's a couple things I wanted to talk about with audio tech news. There's a new Focusrite Scarlett Generation 4. They look about the same as previous generations. Aluminum exterior, front panel is plastic. And on some of these, they've moved the jacks to the back panel instead of combo jacks in the front. I'm not sure what to feel about that. That may be a strange choice, but maybe that's a good thing. They've added a dual mode air button, which does like a high boost sort of thing, and also a sort of a saturation mode, where the converters in it go to 192 kilohertz. So they are saying that these are the same preamps that are in the more expensive Red series. I think the prices are about the same. $200 for the Scarlett, $359 for the Scarlett Solo Studio Bundle. The 2i2 is $289 and $429 for the Studio. There's also the 4i4 for $400. These are the Canadian list prices, but actual store prices may differ. This is probably the world's most popular audio interface at this point. It's just little incremental changes each time. I haven't used a Scarlett since Gen 1. So I had a Gen 1. I bought it like right as it was released. I kind of liked it because it was so compact and inexpensive. At the time, that was a big deal because when that was released, there was really not a lot of good things. Now it's a very crowded market. There are tons of things that look just like this. There are clones of this on Amazon and Alibaba and other places. There's M-Audio, there's Arturia, there is so many other options right now. This is always a safe bet, an easy recommendation. They work well. So your thoughts on Focusrite Scarlett Generation 4. There's no 18i20. There's no 8i6, so the Gen 4 only goes up to the 4 inputs and outputs. Let's look at that one. To me, that's the most interesting of the bunch, though not really that interesting. So there is a select button, which I'm not really sure what the select button does for that. Instrument, auto, air, you got to choose the inputs from that button to then apply the things to, rather than a separate button for each input. I don't know if I like that. That seems like a kind of a slow setup, though I assume you can do that all from their software control panel. There's no images of that, and that's a huge part of using these devices. No screenshot of the actual software. There's a bundle of software that comes with this. I haven't looked for an audio interface in quite a while, but I've been looking this week at options for my own upgrade, and I'm not really sure. Hey, Mike's here. Mike, do you have the Audient Evo? You've got this one, right? Or two of these? I can't remember. Evo 16. So I was looking at this one. I was complaining the other day, like maybe a week ago, maybe it was 2 weeks ago, how I do not like digitally controlled headphone and monitor controllers on these audio interfaces, because if they glitch, then they tend to output white noise at full scale. But there is a big benefit of having these digital controls. It's very precisely matched output levels. And that's 8 preamps, 8 line inputs, 2 independent headphone outputs, 8 line outputs, 2 optical inputs, 2 optical outputs, multi-channel smart gain, motion UI control system. I don't know that thing. USB 2 over USB-C, 24-bit 96 kilohertz. I'm sure this would do everything I need. Under $1,000, I should probably pick this one up out of all the options, but all right, let's just take a moment to say hello to everyone that is here. Thank you all for being here on such short notice. This is the last Friday before the kids go back to school. Things are hectic. Everyone is stressed. Children are definitely tightly wound right now, and it's not fun. Davi's here, Jason's here, Chris Butler is here, Danny Gable's here, Jerome is here, Will is here, Matthew Kirchhoff is here, Steven is here, Gypsy is here. After I went down the RME route, everything else feels like a downgrade. Yeah, I don't trust them for some reason. Well, I explained in a previous live stream that I really hurt my hearing the last time I used an RME interface. I really don't like their software, so it makes me very hesitant to purchase something from them. I know what you mean. It does feel like premium stuff. I have a bad experience with it. I shouldn't hold that grudge forever, but I should consider their stuff. But there's always something that's kind of weird compared to other products that are cheaper. Dustin, welcome. When will I be reviewing studio pictures again? I don't know when. Where can you submit them? Submit them to the contact form on my website. So if you come here to reaper.blog, click on contact us, and you can link to your either a Dropbox link or a Imgur link. That'll be fine. Or if you just like send me a message, then you can attach it when I reply. But I don't know when we're going to do it. I don't think I officially have any more submissions. Mike sent me some on Discord. I want to get Andy's photos in here as well, but it's going to be a little while. But that said, we do have 27, I think, more streams this year. Send them in at your convenience. Yeah, I would like to do more. That the video did well, and I had a lot of fun. You cleaned up so you can do a virtual studio tour video? Sure, that sounds cool. Yeah, nobody sent in video, which is fine. I didn't take the time to do video for mine. I might actually upgrade audio interfaces this year. I've got the Arturia Audio Fuse first generation, and I like it in general. It occasionally glitches with my Mac after a restart. I have to do a full restart of the Audio Fuse as well, which does a loud pop in my speakers every time. So that's kind of annoying. A few times it's frozen up where it looks like it's working, but it's not. And sometimes the output level just goes up to 0, which I do not enjoy. But overall, I like it, and it comes with a great software bundle. So I was considering getting the larger version, the Studio, which is just kind of all the same features plus 2 extra preamps and a couple more outputs. And so that would give me, I think, 12 I/O. 12 seems about right for what I need. I've got a rack of synths going into a mixer, but ideally some of those would have their own outputs. 4 channels of rack gear going through the M-Audio Profiler 2626. And that gives me some flexibility of having another 4, 2 stereo or 4 mono devices. Motu 8 Pre ES dies on M1 Mac occasionally as well. So annoying. Yeah, I don't know. As I was mentioning, this is the last weekend before the kids go back to school. Things should go back to normal. After that, hopefully, when I'm not constantly having to watch them and have them interrupt, I might get back to making videos throughout the week, in addition to the stream edits and things like that. But maybe not, realistically. I'm lining up a bunch of plugins to review over the next month. I think I got 3 coming. Does your Mac have Thunderbolt? Yes, it has 2. It has 2 of the fastest speed Thunderbolt 4. I think it might have 4. I don't remember. It's Mac Studio, so it has a lot of I/O. I think it's 4 Thunderbolt 4 on the back and 2 USB-C on the front. There's definitely a speed difference. Sunday, I went out with my brother to Long and McQuaid to get him a birthday present. So his birthday was recently. I said, next time we go to Long and McQuaid, I'm going to get you something. So we looked at all the guitars. We looked at practice amps, strings, and pedals, and it took us forever to decide, but we ended up trying out a few of the Fender Hammertone series pedals. So I tried the distortion, overdrive, and the metal. They're all pretty good. I could find a use for any of them. What we decided to get was the distortion. So the Hammertone distortion for 100 Canadian seemed pretty good. That also came with a $10 gift card, which was pretty cool. And then in addition to that, he got a couple sets of strings. I got myself a couple sets of strings, so later today, we will put some strings on the guitars. I got to fix the whammy bar on my Jackson. New strings, fix the whammy bar. That's it for that guitar. I have a problem with one of my Telecasters. The jack is like loose, like the contacts for the actual jack are loose inside, and it's sort of intermittent. You have to hold it at a certain position for it to work, which is really annoying. So I need to get a new jack because it's a sealed kind that isn't user repairable. Is it a real Telecaster with the weird cup retainer input jack? No, it's not that. It's one of those with a little grommet, rubber grommet on the outside. It's a sealed jack. I have a new set of strings for the Solar, so that's a pretty simple, straightforward process because it's just a tunematic bridge. The last thing to do is swap out the bridge on my Fender Aerodyne bass. That's a lot of stuff to do. We'll at least get like 1 or 2 of those done today. I needed a string change on that bass, and I figured maybe, I know there's a debate of whether changing the bridge on a bass makes a difference, but I figure it's a pretty inexpensive upgrade if it is an upgrade. Considering getting an 8x8 mic preamp line interface with ADAT optical to feed into the Apollo, don't need more DSP, and another 8 XP would be way too much money. Yeah. There's lots of inexpensive optical I/O boxes these days. Profire 2626, the Digimax series. There's an Arturia one, which I wouldn't say is inexpensive, but it's good. I don't know, a bunch of options. Is there a way to silence an audio section without separating it like Audacity does it? You could use the take volume envelope, turn down the volume in that section, mute the track at that point using automation. 2 ways. But yeah, Reaper doesn't do like destructive editing. Like, what's wrong with splitting it? I don't understand why that's a problem. You can always undo it. You can always see that there is audio still there. The other thing I wanted to do today possibly was some sound design source, I called it. But really there's a couple things projects that I've started but never got past the sort of conceptualization stage. I did tests, but I didn't finish the project. So there was like the Metal Boxes recordings. I wanted to do that with 1 or 2 microphones plus a contact mic. I ran into issues with the contact mic being noisy. And then the trick of phase coherence for all the different sources was a problem. And then like, how do you label it and stuff like that? So I have like first pass of recording 1 of the boxes out of 3. I don't want to do that one today. The other thing was a small speaker impulse response library. So I have a bunch of small speakers. I set them up with like test tones and impulses and things like that. And the results weren't good. Like playing something back through it had a filter similar to the speaker, but not as good as something like the Place It plugin or any other impulse response library that I have of small speakers. So it made it different, lo-fi, but not the same. So it was annoying. It annoyed me because it was hours of work, but nothing useful at the end of it. And then the other thing was this massage gun as a sound design tool. So I got one that has adjustable speed, but I've never checked, see which setting relates to which pitch. But you can make some cool sounds with these. So is any of that interesting to you guys? If we did any of those projects today, speakers, boxes, vibrator, massage gun, let me know which are the things that you are interested in. Just got an M2 Pro Mini. I need a fresh install of Reaper, native version only. Do I open it normally or have to do the shift plus right click? It should be right click, select open, and then go to the settings to approve any things that pop up. I have a video on installing Mac and extensions. Okay, I put that into the chat. When I split, then glue or heal videos, the video goes black. Okay, well, your videos should be separate from the audio. Maybe it's a pain to have 2 tracks, but it gives you all the flexibility of editing the audio any way that you want without affecting the video. 100% you should do that. In addition to that, it also runs better. Duplicate the video to the track below, take that file, run glue on it. That will make a wave version. Go back to the first track where you have the video, go to source properties, select ignore audio from the options in source properties. And then finally select the 2 items and group them. Then all your edits will be matched and you can ungroup and affect only the audio. It makes a big difference. You just missed the sale on my video tools course, but I go through all that stuff. Massage the cat. Yeah, Beans does not like it. Wallet. Paper. I should probably just hit record on it. Okay, so I don't know if you can hear me twice now, but yeah, let's actually put some effects on this as we're doing this. So if you just came in, we are recording with a vibrator. Massage gun, I mean. Let's just put on LE2A and let's do put a bit of saturation. Yeah, I guess just like the built-in saturation. Add that. And then a little bit of the Juno chorus That's pretty cool. And then a bit of reverb, little plate. Up to max speed. Could you put it on your face and modulate it with your mouth? Yeah, I think so. Oh. Hopefully you don't get a bruise there now. You can get bruising from using these too much. And it blurs your vision real bad. But that was a good suggestion. So we've got some sound design source in there. We didn't hear the first sorts of sounds with the effects. My face is numb. So that's receipt paper. Or that is. Okay, so before I forget, I should rename this file Vibrator 1, I guess. Oh, you can hear my phone go off there. Andy asked, can you change the speed? Yeah, this one has 20 different speeds. I don't know what speed, like what pitches you get from each speed. But it's one of the reasons I chose this over others. Sounding like an expert on vibrators. Just this one. Okay, so I'm going to turn off the grid, and then I'm going to select this. Okay, and now let's stretch this out. And double that again. Let's try putting the reverb at the start. Actually, I didn't like it stretched that far. Half is better for actually, you know what? I'm wrong. I do want it stretched out that far, but I don't want pitch. So there is a high frequency whine that we would want to remove. EQ that. try to get this looping. The like usual thing to do with this is just like put on Infiltrator or Snap Heap or something like that and see what you get. So let's do that. Let's take Snap Heap. Let's grab some presets. That's pretty cool. Low pass. Okay, that's all cool. We could do things like, what's the word I'm looking for? Duck. Duck to do transient shaped type things, and it'll just be like tempo synced. Rather than like cutting up a bunch of sounds at this point, we can kind of get an idea of how it might be used. Nice and choppy. disperser. It's a very common sound design tool. Let's pinch this. Oh, and of course we need OTT. Here's an effects chain with 4 OTTs in a row. That's great. It's really good music. What were we saying? What were we talking about? Why are we doing this? Is Duck free? Duck is not free. Duck is from Devious Machines. I don't remember the price. I really like the plugin. I did buy this one, but after I made the video, they basically gave me all the others. $34.26 is the price for this one. There are various things that are similar. This one does a lot of things. Different envelope shapes. You can add as many points by just double clicking, and then you can change the tension of those betweens by dragging. And there is a crossover, so you can adjust low and highs. Overall amount, you can adjust speed. You can group it with 4 other sets of plugins. There's 4 separate groups that so you can control multiple mics or multiple tracks at the same time. Bunch of preset patterns, presets in here as well. Trigger mode, repeat, MIDI, sidechain, or plugin input. So audio triggered from the same audio source, sidechain input, MIDI notes, or just on a tempo synced repeat. I really like it. I find it very easy to use. But there's also a volume shaper or any of those like shaper box, things like that. Can you make it a stuttering effect? Yeah. So you might want to do a preset like this and then do something like 16th notes. Let's turn off everything else. But this has kind of got like that stuttering sound anyways, but let's do this. And set this to repeat. Oh, I bypassed all. So that's more of like a tremolo sort of thing. I just noticed these flip things. That's cool. Yeah, you can do a lot of stuff with it. Okay, so distortion. Good old OTT. You never know what it's going to do. I'm not even playing any audio at this point. Okay, we'll keep that sound for sure. Let's just put that back through the sound. Same effects chain. Snap heap. Another Devious Machines plugin is Infiltrator. I barely know her. Let's take this loop here. Actually, no, we'll do this looping section. That's something. That's pretty cool. All right, so if you haven't seen Infiltrator before, this is a multi-effect sequencer. So there are a bunch of different effects in each of these slots. Each one has its own shape for how it gets applied to things. If I recall correctly, this is mix? No, this is amount, whatever this big knob is. Again, this can be like synced with a tempo, triggering from audio, sidechain, these sorts of things. Maybe not sidechain, actually. I don't see sidechain input on this, but yeah, it can do a shitload of stuff. And then there's a million presets and a random button. So I've got this after duck. So this, along with the record output mode of a track or a global sampler, gives you the ability to save all those weird effects as you run through the different presets. So let's take, I don't know, this section here. So this is turning on each of those effects in a sequence. And yeah, it's always tempo synced and all that stuff. I already stopped playing the track. It's just doing this on its own. Anyway, you could spend all day just messing around and forget to hit record and lose all of that progress. But we should move on to the next thing. I think this is some great source material for doing something, some sci-fi sort of things. I wish I had some like cardboard or styrofoam. Styrofoam's really good with the massage gun for different sounds. But yeah, just with a bit of paper and the massage gun, you can get some crazy sounds with multi-effects or just building up your own effects chain. Even good old OTT can do some crazy stuff when you stack it a few times. It's almost 11. Let's fix one guitar. I think doing the Fender bass is probably the lowest stress guitar to fix right now. Right back. There's not enough room here to do it. If you missed it earlier, we're going to change the bridge on this Fender Aerodyne. Not universally agreed on that changing the bridge on a bass actually improves the sound. It may improve tuning stability. Let me switch to this camera. Maybe you can see that. So if I play on this bridge, if I pull really hard, the saddles can actually move left and right or up and down. If you play hard, it can actually go out of tune. And then it's also debatable whether a higher mass bridge, not this sort of thin bent metal bridge, actually makes a difference. But I need to change the strings on this anyways. I got this bridge from Goto. Bought on Amazon. And hey, autofocus actually worked. So this is similar, really, but again, it's the black chrome. It should just be like a instant swap sort of thing. Bigger saddles should hold the tuning better. They can't move left up and down because there's these grooves. And yeah, we'll see. Cosmetically, it looks more solid. Yeah, exactly. So I'll just pull the strings off this. Let's try this camera angle. I hate when people just cut off the strings. It drives me crazy. That like, I don't know, just the possibility of like scratching the guitar. And if you mess up with that new set of strings, you don't have that old string you can put on just temporarily. I've got a string winder thing, but I don't think bass tuning pegs fit on it. You haven't changed the strings on your bass since you bought it 15 years ago. I just noticed a dramatic change in tone in this bass. And it was like, seemed sudden. But then I thought, oh, it has been like 10 months. And I think it's been longer than that. It's been another month or two since then. It's time. Probably see that, you can see that there's a lot of dust on it. Last week when I was at Long and McQuaid, they did have some really nice basses. They had this one Fender Jazz bass with a silver finish, like a silver burst, similar to Adam Jones from Tool, how he has his Les Pauls, that silver finish. It was very nice. The weird thing about it, the remarkable thing about it to me was the flat wound strings, which I'm not used to flat wound strings. If you don't know what that is, that's when you take round wound strings and you flatten them down until they're smooth, and they have a really mellow tone. But they were strange to play. I'm really not used to it. There's just no texture on your fingers, and if you're used to like thick bass strings, it's very, very different. And it's not a bright tone, so I don't like it. I play this bass all the time, and I think it's just that we have to have the windows open a lot, and this room isn't isolated from the kitchen, so like all the oils from cooking get on the guitars. Makes the strings go dead real fast. If I kept my stuff in cases, it'd probably be better. Now I'm regretting not just cutting the ends off because they're all tangled. If they were in cases, I would play them even less, but they would be protected from dust and oils and stuff. So I'm not going to throw these away just yet. A week or a month or something, just in case. Bass strings are expensive. You like how it says help? I just did that. Why are you changing the bridge? Because in my mind, it will be better. I'm thinking, how could it not make a difference? I could be totally wrong. Just like, you know, how the different woods and weight of a guitar doesn't really make a difference in how it sounds. The wood you use in the body of a electric guitar, I think it's proven now that it doesn't make a difference. And I just assume that with this weak material, maybe it flexes or something. Should be an easy swap, which will at least make it look different and hopefully make it sound better. It's not like hundreds of dollars to make the swap like pickups are. It doesn't require soldering, sanding, routing, anything like that. I figure it's worth trying. If it gets me to play this bass a little bit more over the next week than I would normally, it's all worth it. Take some 800 grit to that finish and you can get rid of the fingerprints for a good long time. Yeah, I've got some, I just need to find some polishing spray. I used to have it. It may not have survived the move. I've got lemon oil, but I don't want to put that on the finished body parts, right? That's only for necks or just for my acoustic guitar, if I recall correctly. I just need to get that like Dunlop spray that everyone uses. Keep forgetting when I'm at the store. Linseed is much better. I usually do my own setups for guitars unless there's some weird issue, like a high fret. When I got the baritone telly last year, there was a problem with fret buzz, and I figured out that there was a high fret. I think this bass is... Yeah, this bass is perfect. It was still under warranty. It was under 30 days, and I took that in, and they spent another 2 hours of setup on it. And then when I got it back, it still wasn't perfect. And I had to set it up again after I changed the pick guard. I should check the weight difference now that I have them both off. Let me weigh it. 92 grams, 167. Not a huge difference. Something like that could affect the balance of the guitar. Neck dive, that issue. This one doesn't. Has anyone ever changed the bridge in their guitar and noticed a difference? Like this one's not adding any additional functionality. It's just sort of bigger. So I'm curious if it makes any difference at all. But I like how it looks. Inexpensive. Seems worth doing. Never use power tools on a guitar, only on basses. I saw a really interesting video on the Stu Mac channel last week, restoring this old ES335, I'm guessing. PRS bridge doesn't have any moving parts other than up and down adjustment, kind of minimal. Yeah, I'm not really a fan of that. I know the PRS guitars play great, sound great. They don't have full intonation adjustment. I don't understand how did they get away with that? Shocked the screws line up? Yeah. There's a super easy change. Screws line up. I'm just going to tighten each one one more time. Oh, missed one. Good thing I checked. PRS bridges are similar to acoustic bridge. String breakage has actually not been an issue for me. The last string I broke was on my Solar, and I was just getting it out of the packaging. So we've got regular slinky bass. It feels like I'm forgetting something. Got the clippers. All right, so when I'm stringing up a guitar or a bass, I usually go to the next tuning peg, do the 90-degree bend, and then I'll cut it off. All right, so strings are on, bridge is on, but I got to do a full setup on it still. It's always weird to me when it's like, it feels tight, but then it's like, oh, it's half an octave too low still. One of the few times I broke a bass string was tuning it D, A, D, F, I think it was. Tuned the highest string up a note, up a step for a Tool song. That broke before the end of the song. It was interesting though. No way. Intonated perfectly out of the box. Nearly. What's the make and model of the microphone boom you're using? This is a Blue Compass, I think it's called. Strings feel really high. I'll leave it for now, but if I change the action, it's gonna acquire intonation, then we're gonna be here another hour. Yeah, I'm gonna have to fix the action. Did I miss the part where I stretch the strings? I didn't stretch the strings yet. One weird thing about this bass is there's this like metallic ping sort of coming from the headstock and neck area. And I don't know, I think acoustically you hear it. But it's just odd. I don't notice it on my other basses. From the headstock. I'm sure in time my hearing will go and I won't notice it anymore. But it is a little odd, and it's always done that. I don't know where that comes from. That's it for that guitar today. Too soon to say if the bridge replacement is worth it, but seems like it. I like how it looks. I was at the farmer's market a couple weeks ago, and there was a guy playing a jazz bass there, and he kept clicking the string, the E string to the pickup. That was like the worst sound in the world. Any suggestions on A being a mix to other songs to compare? Would using a plugin be the only way, as I use some outboard gear in the master track? You can use a plugin. Ian Shepherd's something, what's that called? Perception. Ian Shepherd's Perception plugin is made for that. Let's say track 2 and all the other tracks, that's your mix. And then this is your reference. You want to mute your reference track, go to the I/O button. Don't send it to the master output, but you do send it to your main outputs. So this will still make your reference go through monitoring effects chain, but not the master track. And when you want to hear it, you just solo it. Soloing obviously mutes all the other tracks, so you don't hear your mix, and then you click unsolo, and then you don't hear your reference anymore. Etalon Beats, he said exactly what I said, but faster. You can do that with multiple tracks. Just make sure that's not going to the master track and solo it when you need it. There are plugins that will do gain matching as well. So they are somewhat useful. You can also A/B compare the same mix with and without plugins using those reference plugins. So they may be worth getting. I've never bought one. Tycho's video on the Reverb channel. This is a great video. Tycho reveals studio secrets in a synth and effects wonderland. Highly recommend that video. You should check this out if you haven't seen it already. Super cool. The way his studio is organized, how clean it is, while still being like so much stuff in there, like so many effects. I mentioned the Deco plugin from Strymon, and he's got 3 of the pedals in the studio. That is...
It's actually
in his rack here for everything. It runs everything through them. There's one moment in here where he takes a simple sound from the grandmother and it goes through the effects and it totally transforms it. Recommend checking that out. And then what else from this week. 3 things that will improve your home studio and workflow. What could it be?
Hey, I'm Andrew, and in this video...
I need the answer. What are the 3 things? Oh yeah, Rhett Shull's I played almost every Telecaster. He played 6. No, he played 5 Telecasters. That annoyed me, that he says every Telecaster. He played 1 at different price points. That's at 5 price points. It's not every Telecaster. There would be like a million different guitars. I still ended up watching the entire video, even though I knew I would get nothing out of it. Sometimes Rhett's videos really annoy me. So clickbaity. I agree with his take on the classic vibe. My classic vibe Strat is killer. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is a classic vibe. My baritone, but it had a ton of problems. So, I don't know. I don't know if you guys saw that I changed the pickguard on it. It's got a lot of issues. It's not super great. The pots have become sort of scratchy already. Less than a year. I still like the guitar. The guitar's in pretty good shape now, but it had a high fret. It's got that, the pot issue. Bridge was on crooked. So it's like at an angle. Kind of weird. It's got a very cheap bridge. I should replace this. I should replace this with something that's got full, what do you call it? Intonation adjustments. And I also want to change the tuners. So basically everything about it I want to change. We got the pot issue too. Chris, is your classic vibe Strat like that? Like are the pots bad? I replaced the pots in my Telecaster, my Fender Telecaster, and I have Burns pots in here, and I put in the orange drop. Is that what it's called? Orange drop thing. 2022 models were really nice, all of them. 22 frets too. Would have had gone with $1,500 one. Pots are fine. Hardware is great too. Okay. Have I used Loopcloud? I used it a bunch, but not recently. I don't have a subscription to it right now. I think it's great. Great way to start songs. Lots of cool tools. I haven't used it in a while. Version 3 or 4. I don't know what they're on now. But yeah, if you're interested in Loopcloud, I would highly recommend it. If you go back maybe a year or 2, I did a bunch of streams with it. I don't know if this is exactly what I have in the guitar, but it's something like this. Burns sealed potentiometers. They move very smoothly and they don't scratch at all. They have a pro audio line. They have sets for guitars too. So I should do this for my baritone Telecaster. I should swap those out. These are not cheap. They're pretty expensive for basic electronics parts, but they're like the best you can get. As far as I know, they're the best you can get. It might have been these ones, plain shaft. Just have to be very careful because there's so many different variations of what's available. Audio taper, linear taper, knurled or plain shafts with standard or long bushings, with different resistance values, all these things. They're very important, and you can easily buy the wrong one and waste. I think they're like $20 a piece. They get expensive. Shaft length and size are so important. Absolutely true. We're going to wrap it up here. I don't know if this will make a good video, but we got 2 things done on the list, I guess. We had some fun with the massage gun making weird sounds. We fixed 1 guitar. I still have 3 more to go, but that's it for this week. And hope you've enjoyed the stream. Maybe I'll just toss that file, the recorded file, up on I don't know. Maybe I'll put it on the Discord so people can mess around with stuff. Thank you all for being here. Chris, Davi, Hellman, Andy, other Chris, Steven, all you guys. Yeah, thank you for being here. And I'll see you another time. have a great day. Enjoy your weekend. See you next Friday, if not sooner.